From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the News at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Melinda Akilami.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar restates resolve to ensure creation of state police if elected in 2023 as his party's campaign train makes a stopover in Edo State. Youths take to the streets of Lagos to drum support for APC's Tinubu Shetima team, as well as the re-election bid of the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party continues his tour of flooded communities in parts of the country after the federal government to declare an emergency in Bayelsa State. And Russia intensifies airstrikes on critical infrastructure in central and western Ukraine as it targets the country's energy grid.
On business news tonight.
Politics and the presidential campaign of the People's Democratic Party which moved to Benin City, the Edo State capital, today. During the rally, the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar reaffirmed his belief that state police will go a long way in tackling head-on the security challenges in the country. Besides that, the former vice president said that Nigeria's unity will be his #1 priority if he's elected president next year.
Hand in hand, the PDP presidential team of Atiku Abubakar and Ifeanyi Okowa lead other delegates for the presidential campaign rally inside the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium in Benin City, the Edo State capital. It's another opportunity for the main opposition party to convince Nigerians that the PDP deserves another opportunity to return to power.
Thank you. Without wasting much of your time.
The PDP members in government lead the campaign promises.
Leaders like late Chief Anthony Anedi. Leaders like late Sam Ogbemudia. Leaders like Chief Igbinedio. These are the people who set up PDP in Edo State. They are the foundations of PDP in our state. Are we going to disappoint them? You want economic prosperity? You want job opportunities? You want women inclusion? You want youth inclusion? Vote for Atiku Okowa.
The vice presidential candidate, Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta State, is also in this category. He insists that the former vice president, Atiku Abubakar, was instrumental to developmental strides in the South-South region.
We have brought a man who we know is able to restore our economy and ensure that there's creation of more jobs and that our youth are able to get employment.
The event climaxes with a speech of the presidential candidate who maintains that nation building will be top on his reforms agenda. He adds that state policing will address prevailing security challenges in the country.
We have promised to reunify this country What do we mean by that? We mean we are going to give each and every part of this country a sense of belonging. 2, we promise to restore security. Whatever it is going to take us to do, we shall restore the security in this country.
The PDP presidential campaign rally departs for another venue, leaving behind the message of restoration of hope for Nigerians when voted back to power in the 2023 general elections.
Here in Lagos, youths in their numbers took to the streets today to show their support for the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu, and the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who is vying to retain his seat. The Deputy Governor, Kadri Hamzat, who also joined the rally, urged the youths to come out and vote for the APC at the federal and state levels in order to secure a better future.
Youths in Lagos State converge on Maryland Junction, all for the All Progressives Congress presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, and Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who is seeking a second term in office. As the crowd increases, the rally, organized by Bola Tinubu's son, Sheyi Tinubu, kicks off in earnest from Maryland through the Army Cantonment, Sheraton Hotel, and Government Residential Area, Ikeja, causing slow vehicular movement as they chant their support for their preferred candidates. The walk terminates at the Police College, Ikeja, where the State Deputy Governor, Kadri Hamzat, joins the youths. Also in attendance is the Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Edward Onoja, APC National Woman Leader, Betta Edu, and some members of the House of Representatives speaking in one voice.
It is important that corporately we want Abuja and Shetima to also love each other now. Give us at least 4 million votes.
Representatives of Nigerians in diaspora and some northerners in attendance are optimistic that the APC presidential candidate will provide better opportunities for the youths.
Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has really done it and get it. He has been there, do it. He's a capacity leader. We believe so much on his vision and mission.
This time around, it's a system that will cater for the youth, and it's a system that have focus that will carry everybody along.
I'm calling the youth, more especially women, they should go and collect their PBC and don't allow anybody to collect their PBC and give them money.
The man for whom they've all gathered speaks to them virtually and applauds them for supporting his vision.
For every day I spend as your president, when elected, I promise you, with strong determination, that you will not be disappointed.
More gatherings like this are expected in the days ahead, in addition to the state-to-state campaigns, as the electioneering season gathers momentum, with the general elections only months away.
As political parties strategize on ways to attract supporters ahead of the general elections, some members of the Labour Party want to de-emphasize the usual public rallies by the party. According to the senatorial candidate for the Federal Capital Territory on the Labour Party platform, Mrs. Ireti Kinjebe, the party should prioritize town hall meetings and community-based campaigns. Mrs. Kinjebe, who made the remarks at the party's town hall meeting in the nation's capital, noted that majority of those who will vote for the party are not card-carrying members.
There are also many people who are supporting Labour but are apolitical. They've always been people like that. In fact, the bulk of your voters are not going to be people who belong to any party. they're just going to be residents of the community. There's obviously a lot of pressure on candidates to reach out to the community more so than within Labour. It will not be presumptuous of us to assume that most of the votes in this room will be ours. So I want to appeal to the party that more importantly than calling us for party events, they should be calling us for community events. Something is happening in this market. Candidates, come, let's go. In this village, they don't like you. Come, let's go talk to them. Those things are much more important in getting votes than in us organizing Labour rallies, which we've done in the past, which we don't need to do at this point in time.
Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, has also been busy, but not on the campaign trail. He has been visiting victims of flood disaster in Bayelsa State, where he called on the federal government to declare a state of emergency on the situation in the state. He's also asking the government to send a high-powered delegation to visit the residents to assess the level of devastation experienced as a result of the flood. Since this year's flooding began and the collapse of the Ukobe section of the east-west road, the only secured means of transportation into Bayelsa State is via air. So the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, arrives Government House Yenagua in a chopper. He goes to the governor's lodge and the internally displaced persons camp at Oxbow Lake, while calling on the federal government to declare a state of emergency in Bayelsa State.
What I saw today, Your Excellency, my appeal, which I will be more vocal about, is for the federal government of Nigeria to send, if the president or the vice president cannot visit Bayelsa, they must send a very strong team to come and see what is happening here. I've never seen what I saw in Bayelsa. This is the top place I'm visiting. And I can say, federal government of Nigeria needs to declare emergency.
An appreciative Governor Dewey applauded the statesmanship exhibited by Mr. Peter Obi.
I'd like to thank you on behalf of this state. And this is what we are talking about. It is not that you will come and give Bayelsans all the food they need or all the money we need. Right now, we are even thinking beyond the flood, the post-flood management of reconstruction and rehabilitation.
At the IDP camp, Mr. Obi gets a warm reception from excited persons. A lot of residents have been displaced by the flood in Bayelsa State, with a large destruction of critical infrastructure like hospitals, roads, bridges and schools. In part two, after the break, more on the flood situation in parts of the country, especially its impact on businesses and cost of living. That's in a moment. Do stay with us. Youths take to the streets of Lagos to drum support for APC's Tinubu-Shetima team, as well as the re-election bid of the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party continues his tour of flooded communities in parts of the country, asks the federal government to declare an emergency in Bayelsa State. And Russia intensifies airstrikes on critical infrastructure in central and western Ukraine as it targets the country's energy grid. The president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Francis Mesirier, has been visiting Anambra State to commiserate with members whose businesses have been ravaged by flood. He toured the various facilities of the Harbour Industrial Layout Onitsha alongside the Southeast Regional Chairperson of the association and other executive members. The man president says the level of damage caused by the flood disaster is devastating to business activities and the entire manufacturing family in Anambra.
We came here to see for ourselves, to be able to understand what they have been experiencing year in, year out. We saw apparently that the sector, the cluster here is experiencing a very high level flood. In the factory, we find that in most cases, we might need a need of assistance to really work properly there. There was a place we had to go. We couldn't go in until we have a jeep to really drive within the premises. And the water level is so high that it has dislodged them from the factory. And some of the equipments were almost submerged in water in the flood. Okay, so having seen this, we first want to express our concern to them because they have lost time, they've lost money, and we are wondering how much it will cost them to really get their equipments back and recover from this loss. What we tend to do now is to evaluate this, to understand the root cause, and engage relevant government to look into the problems. We tend to discuss with them to find the medium and permanent solutions to this. This has happened some time ago, we learned, and we believe if you engage government very much well, they will have listening ears.
Besides being displaced from their homes, roads becoming impassable and death resulting from the ravaging flood waters, the effects of the floods are being felt in other ways by the people. For example, in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, the prices of foodstuff have increased tremendously. This next report takes a look at the impact on the flood on the average person in the River State capital.
A visit to the bus park at the Waterlines area of Port Harcourt in River State shows significant reduction in the volume of road travel activities. According to the manager of one of the road transport companies operating here, they no longer apply the east-west road as a result of the heavy floods, and this has led to a major price increase.
It's not been easy because from start, we were like seeing it as a kind of like a minor challenge, hoping that it will stop in less than a few days. But after a while, the water keeps on increasing. So it has now made us to apply other routes. Presently, we are taking from Eleni to Imo State, Owerri, Onitsha, Asaba, down to Lagos now, presently.
Other drivers complain bitterly of the military checkpoints on the Owerri-Onitsha highway, which is the only alternative route at the moment. They say this increases the waiting time significantly.
For now, the only way we have now is this Owerri-Onitsha road. Even as at then, if the motor is going, this blockage by army, before you enter Owerri is another problem. So these are the challenges we are facing now. Right now, as I'm talking now, there are some motors that are supposed to leave Port Harcourt today, going to Benin axis. They could not. One, there is problem along Bayelsa Road because of the flood.
The passengers are not happy about the increase in the cost of transportation.
I was very astonished to see such a thing.
because I don't think how it will help me and my family as we are traveling to Lagos, and it's must travel. But because of the transportation, I don't know what else to do.
The shoppers echo the same sentiment as they decry the increase in foodstuff prices.
Things are very, very expensive. Even I went to buy 500 naira meat, no meat, 500. Even 1 cup of rice now. 1 cup of rice now is 300 naira.
Man, the flood is really making things quite expensive compared to last week when I came to the market. I could buy goat head, let's say goat head for 2,000. Imagine yesterday I had to buy for 3,500.
Clearly, the impact of the flood is beyond just causing environmental issues, as it has also affected the socio-economic well-being of the people.
Following the recent boat mishap resulting in the loss of 10 lives in Niger State communities, the Hydropower Producing Areas Development Commission, Hydrodec, has donated life jackets and cash to the affected victims. The Managing Director, Hydrodec, Mr. Abubakar Yewa, made the donations during the Commission's visit to commiserate with the people in several local government areas in the state.
We came here with the support of about 2,210,000 naira, and our target is to support the bereaved family, about 10 of them, with the sum of 100,000 naira, and also those survived victims with the sum of 30,000 naira, and also a life jacket for them to be used on this channel. That will assist them when there's any boat mishap in future, which we didn't pray for. Actually, our cost to them is, life jacket is a very important aspect, material that they can use on their body in case of any boat mishap. They will remain on the water body for not less than 8 hours, up to when the rescue team will arrive to rescue them. Precisely, we are calling on them. They should not see this life jacket as a useless thing. They should make sure they make use of it. We know why we bring it to them, because we love them. We want them to survive by the river channel. And that is why we felt we must not come here without the life jacket.
More on the flood and efforts aimed at alleviating its impact, this time in Yobe State, where the Northeast Development Commission has donated items to victims of the disaster. Presenting the items in Damaturu, the state capital, the Managing Director of the Commission, Mr. Mohammed Al-Khali, said Yobe State was the first in the region to benefit from the federal government's gesture. The state government has pledged to ensure fair distribution of the items.
We are really appreciative for the palliatives you have brought to the state to cushion the immediate effect of this flood, which has destroyed the essential livelihood, which is foods, the reserve one at home and the one that in the farms, were all been destroyed by the floods. So this intervention came at the right time, and inshallah will ensure judicious distribution to our communities immediately.
Those of you who are in the on 18th of August in Borno State, when the president presided over the World Humanitarian Day, we made a commitment to provide support to the Northeast as a humanitarian gesture, and promise providing all the 6 states in the Northeast with some food item and no food item. And now we are pledging to concretize that promise. This is why we're here in Yobe today, to give them what we promised. And you have seen today, physically, you have seen we are giving Yobe State 10,000 bags of rice with some blankets, vegetable oil, and so on and so forth. And we're going to repeat the same thing in the other 5 states accordingly, in not very distant future.
To other stories now. Amidst the lingering fuel scarcity in the Federal Capital Territory, the Nigerian Mainstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority is appealing to Nigerians to be patient as a mechanism is being put in place to provide a solution to the problem. The executive director in charge of distribution systems and storage at the agency explained that floodwaters on the road are obstructing the transportation of the products from the south to the north. He was speaking during an inspection of petrol stations in the nation's capital, Abuja.
Most of the motorists here have been on this queue as early as 5 in the morning. This has become the daily routine for most residents of the nation's capital in their efforts to get premium motor spirit for their vehicles. This has led to loss of manpower and increased frustration.
We are asking the government, please, they should come to our aid. We are tired of this issue of scarcity. Everywhere hold up, no movements. People are crying every day.
I've been on this queue for about 4 hours. This is a common knowledge that the government should take responsibility, and whenever such a thing like this happens, they should take decisive steps to make sure that this problem is resolved as quickly as possible.
All we have to say to government that anyhow they can help us, because this thing is not easy at all. This morning someone cannot eat anything, you day on the sun, it's not easy at all. They should just help us.
Illegal sellers of the product, popularly known as black market, are having a field day. The Nigerian Mainstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority blames the situation on the flood disaster which has affected road transportation in parts of the country.
To assure Nigerians, it's flood. We have, as of yesterday, the volumes we had is sufficient for more than 24 days. But because we're importing everything, these supplies are at the coasts. Lagos, Warri, Ogara, Port Harcourt and Calabar, and we have to move them, distribute them up to the north, up country. And so if you have these hiccups on the road, then this is the outcome that you will have. What we've done, we've now moved vessels, gotten NMPC to move vessels. As at yesterday, MT Caramel discharged about 7,000 metric tons, which is equivalent to about 10.2 million liters. And I should say comes to about in excess of 200 trucks. So we're hoping that if we see a sustained momentum of movement from that axis into Abuja and up country, that the situation will improve.
The agency is promising to increase the number of trucks supplying the product into the nation's capital to 180 trucks per day.
The Anambra State Police Command has vowed to get to the root of the attack on motorists on the Onitsha-Owerri Road in Egusigo local government area yesterday. The command spokesperson, DSP Tochukwu Ikenga, who has been explaining the circumstances surrounding the incident, described it as a case of robbery.
What happened along Egusigo local government, Owerri Road, Onitsha-Owerri Road Expressway, to be precise, can be best described as an act of wickedness from these criminal elements. It's a reported case of arson and armed robbery. We got the reports and our men quickly rushed to the scene. Some of the vehicles that were not still affected were recovered. But these criminal elements on that fateful day started shooting periodically in attempts to dispossess innocent citizens plying those roads. And out of fear, some of them escaped to an unknown destination, leaving their vehicles. When they couldn't see anything they can get out of these innocent citizens, they started setting the vehicles ablaze. With the help of members of the public that were around the area and the police also, some of the vehicles were recovered and the fire was put off. But I can tell you categorically that investigation is still ongoing, and we will leave no stone unturned in making sure that the persons that did this will not go unpunished.
Still on security, troops of the Nigerian military say they have killed 49 terrorists in the past 6 weeks as they intensified counterinsurgency operations in the northeast. According to the military, during a briefing at the Theatre Command of Operation Hadinkai in Maiduguri, 7 soldiers lost their lives, while 21 others sustained injuries in the operations within that period. In addition, 2 more Chibok girls, along with 99 other kidnapped victims, were rescued from Boko Haram camps.
It's the monthly briefing of the Theatre Command of Operation Hadinkai in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, where activities undertaken in the month is reviewed by the command's top hierarchy. The General Officer commanding 7th Division and Commander Sector 1 Operation Hadinkai gives an update on the latest rescue of kidnapped victims.
For today, we have additional 2 Chibok girls that have been rescued. On the 29th of September, Iyana Pogo and her 4 children, 2 boys and 2 twin girls, were rescued at Mirari village in Bama local government area by troops of 21 Special Armored Brigade Bama during a clearance patrol in the general area. If you check the list of Chibok girls, she is on serial 19 on the adopted Chibok girls list. Yana is 24 years old, Chibok by tribe, and from Umbalala in Chibok local government area of Borno State. In the same vein, on the 2nd of October 2022, Rejoice Sanke with her 2 children were rescued by troops of 222 Battalion in Kauri local government area. She is on serial 70 on the adopted Chibok girls list. She's 25 years old, Chibok by tribe, and from Kofu Umbula local government area in Chibok local government area of Borno State.
One of the rescued Chibok girls, Yagana Poli, who gave birth to twins before her rescue, and the other, Rejoice Sanki, a mother of 2, shared their experiences while in captivity.
The life out here in the city is different from the bush. I've lost interest in going to school. My husband is still in the bush. He's a fighter. He refused to surrender. I gave birth to these twins 1 week before the military came and rescued us. 3 of my children are the same father, but the other one has a different father who was killed by the military when they attacked Goza town. Initially, when the soldiers came to rescue us, we would run away because we didn't want to return to town. The reason we came out is because the military stormed our camp and set our shelters and other properties ablaze. I ran away to the bush when they came, but I got lost and the military came and picked me. I cannot return to the bush now because our properties have been completely razed down. We saw so many things while in the bush.
According to the military, a new transit camp is on the verge of being completed to house the over 81,000 insurgents and their families who have surrendered to the Nigerian military.
The former Minister of Defense and elder statesman, General Theophilus Danjuma, is urging citizens to defend themselves in the face of rising insecurity in the country. General Danjuma attributed the cause of the state of insecurity to what he describes as an influx of armed invaders and collaborators from within. He was speaking at the coronation of a new traditional ruler and the presentation of staff of office by the Taraba State Governor, Darius Ishaku, to the Aku Uka of Wukari.
Dignitaries from across Nigeria gathered to witness the coronation of the 25th Akuka of Wukari, Ishaku Ali, in Wukari local government area of Taraba State. Prominent among those present is Nigeria's former Minister of Defense, General Theophilus Danjuma.
With a close historical tie between Wukari and the Sokoto Caliphate, the Sultan of Sokoto is present here and he asked youths to work for the progress of the area.
I call on the youth, please do not derail it. Work with the Akuka to entrench permanent peace, because it's only with peace that we can develop.
I will preserve, protect,
and it's time to take the oath by the new traditional ruler.
So help me God. So help me God.
While General Theophilus Danjuma is excited about the development of Wukari, he publicly calls on Nigerians under constant attack by bandits to defend themselves.
We are surrounded by people who do not wish us well, who want our land. We must always bear in mind that the defense of our land is your responsibility, Your Majesty. So you must unite us to provide you the raw material for the defense of your country.
For the Taraba State Governor, the role of traditional rulers in maintaining peace and security at the community level is sacrosanct.
I, therefore, urge His Royal Majesty Manu Ishaku Ada-Ali to further consolidate on this by ensuring justice, fairness, and equity, as well as giving everybody a sense of belonging in their affairs of the palace and other traditional duties.
For many indigenes of Wukari, their prayer is that the reign of the new traditional ruler will bring progress to the Jukun people.
The president has promised that the federal government will continue to encourage and support investors to take advantage of the ongoing reforms in the oil and gas sector. President Muhammadu Buhari made the pledge in a video message during the commissioning of the Pinnacle Oil and Gas Limited facility at the Lekki Free Trade Zone in Lagos. He described the investments being undertaken by Pinnacle Oil and Gas Limited as a demonstration of the success of his administration's agenda to transform the nation's economy.
It's the unveiling of Pinnacle Oil and Gas Limited petroleum product intake, offtake and storage facility situated at the Lekki Free Trade Zone in Lagos.
It's good enough for us to begin this event.
Present at the event are the executive management of Pinnacle Oil and Gas, the Governor of Lagos State, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the Emir of Bichi, who is also Chairman Board of Directors of Pinnacle Oil and Gas Limited, other royal fathers and dignitaries in the oil and gas sector.
Thank you very much.
The project, which kicked off in 2011 and is now set for operations, is expected to facilitate the receipt of imported petroleum products and improve energy security in the country.
They are just neighbors to each other.
The company's Group Chief Executive Officer, Peter Mba, is confident that the facility will bring significant improvement in the sector.
We are already in an advanced conversation with the Dangote Group regarding collaboration to complement the operations of the nearby Dangote refinery, which is soon to come on stream, with a view to forming the nucleus of what we believe will become Africa's largest energy logistic hub.
For the NNPC boss, the development is a huge step in the journey to attaining energy security.
Energy requirements are growing substantially. Despite all the conversations around energy transition that you hear, clearly what is happening today is a massive growth in our economy, and that requires energy, and it can't work without energy. And I know that facilities like this will become very, very primary in the journey towards energy sufficiency and security.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the facility is another landmark private sector achievement in the country.
This facility will not only serve Nigeria, it's also being positioned to look at the opportunity of export on the West African corridor. There will be better commerce happening, there will be better growth in our GDP, and indeed our citizens, our young people, that are craving for opportunity for jobs.
Speaking in a video message, President Muhammadu Buhari describes the project as proof of the success of his administration's agenda to transform the sector.
The success of our agenda to transform our country is clearly demonstrated by this massive investment and obvious contributions it has made to our overall economic well-being.
Congratulations to Pinnacle Oil and Gas.
The company, which prides itself in its efficient logistic solutions for petroleum products operations, says the terminal with over 1 billion litre capacity will fulfill its promise by positively impacting the downstream oil and gas industry in the country.
For more from the world of business, here's Anne Nwawodo.
Thank you, Melinda. Hello and welcome to Business News. We begin with the Nigerian Communications Commission saying that it is set to issue the remaining 2 slots in the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum band for the deployment of the 5th generation network in Nigeria at the reserve price of $273.6 million each. In a memorandum on its website, the NCC says that it had deployed a draft information memorandum in support of the attainment of this objective through an auction process, and it will soon hold a public consultation regarding the draft. The Commission also explains that applicants for the spectrum do not have to be licensed network operators in Nigeria, but will need a unified access service license if there is a bid is successful. In February this year, MTN Nigeria and Mathab Communications Limited made their payment of $273.6 million each for 5G spectrum license after emerging first winners of the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum auction. Global rating agencies Moody's Investors Service has downgraded Nigeria's local and foreign currency long-term issuer and debts ratings from B2 to B3. According to its latest report on the country's website, the ratings agency says the decision is due to significant deterioration in government finances and external position, which comes despite strong increase in international crude oil prices. Economic experts have raised concerns about the ratings downgrade, and it may have negative implications for the country, especially for the bondholders who are mostly foreign investors, as it could affect current bonds driving yields upwards. Meanwhile, Moody's mentions that an upgrade could be considered if the country is able to improve its revenues, especially from oil and gas. Passengers traveling out of Nigeria will now be able to access cheaper flight tickets in the coming days. Well, this is because British Airways has opened low-fare inventories for travelers from the country to foreign destinations. In a statement released today, the National Association of Nigeria Travel Agencies says that British Airways has responded to NANTA, so let's begin to sell the cheaper fares to our customers. We support airlines that value our business relationship. In July this year, foreign airlines blocked low-ticket inventories, leaving highest inventories to be sold in Naira only, while the low-ticket inventories on most airlines' website could only be bought with dollar cards. And in the continuous efforts to expand the subscription base for the e-Naira across the country, the Central Bank of Nigeria has now extended the adoption of Nigeria's digital currency to tricycle riders, popularly known as Keke Napep. Speaking at the e-Naira onboarding program for three-wheeled vehicle operators in Lagos, an official in the Information Technology Department of the CBN, Khalifa Nuhu, says the Apex Bank had started a nationwide awareness campaign to drive the adoption of the digital currency at the grassroots. He explains that the ultimate target was to get people to use the e-Naira and understand its numerous benefits.
We are targeting Keke Napep people today because they interact with those that are within the formal banking sector and those that are in the informal sector, like those who don't have bank accounts. So I'm sure you are aware one of the key targets and objectives of central bank is financial inclusion. And INERA is an amazing tool we can use to increase financial inclusion. As you're also aware, you can onboard on INERA even if you don't have a bank account. All you need is your NIN. That is your NIN number, and you can onboard and you can have your own INERA wallet and you can transact with it.
Forex market trading at the FMDQ exchange was mostly positive across board this week, as the total turnover of transactions carried out at the FX spot, forwards and futures markets all rose by 58.58% to over $718 million. Let's talk about the breakdown. Trading results shows that as at October the 21st, total value of transactions at the FX spot market climbed by 36.06% to $401.14 million, while transactions at the FX derivatives market surged by over 100% to more than $317 million. On the other hand, the Naira's value dropped by 0.15% at 440 Naira 76 kobo against a dollar at the NAFEX window, and that's in contrast to the 440 Naira 8 kobo recorded last week. From there, we head to the local market, where sentiments ended the third week in September on a negative note. The main index closed with a 6.67% loss, while the market's value depreciated by 1.07 trillion naira due to sell pressure by investors. At the same time, stock performance across the 5 key sectors of the NGX was mostly negative, especially on the industrial goods counter, which fell by more than 6% this week. The losses is coming within 3 out of 5 trading sessions. It's largely attributed to profit-taking on 29 equities, with the share price of Airtel Africa as the factor for the market's dismal performance. While Academy Press led a pack of 32 other gainers with an 11.48% gain on its share price. The trio of CWG, GTCO and Fidelity Bank were the top 3 most significant contributors to more than 930 million shares traded in 15,700 deals this week. And that's business news for this week. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Nwawado. The rest of the News at 10 continues now with Melinda.
Many thanks, Anne. The president will leave Abuja for Seoul, South Korea tomorrow to participate in the first World Bio Summit 2022. According to a statement by the Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Mr. Femi Adesina, the summit is jointly organized by the government of the Republic of Korea and the World Health Organization, WHO. The statement adds that Nigeria was invited to the summit after being selected alongside 5 other African countries by the World Health Organization and European Union during the last EU-African summit in Brussels, Belgium, in February this year. The countries were chosen for mRNA technology transfer and global training hub for biomanufacturing of vaccines on the African continent. President Buhari, who is expected to deliver a statement at the summit and meet separately with President Yoon Suk-yeol of the Republic of Korea, will also seek other ways of partnerships that will positively impact the lives and safety of Nigerians. Now let's find out what's happening in the world of sports with Ayotunde Balogun.
Many thanks, Melinda. Well, in the English Premier League, Casemiro scored a 94th-minute header to cancel out Jorginho's goal and earned Manchester United a crucial point against Chelsea in a keenly contested encounter which ended 1-1 at Stamford Bridge. Well, in other games, Erling Haaland took his tally to 17 goals in 11 Premier League games as Man City survived the second half fight back to beat Brighton 3-1 at the Etihad Stadium. Elsewhere, Super Eagles forward Alex Iwobi provided 2 assists as Everton produced a masterclass to beat Crystal Palace at Goodison Park. And Nottingham Forest produced a superb performance to shock Liverpool and climb out of the bottom of the Premier League courtesy of a goal from Nigerian international Taiwo Awoniyi. Nigeria's Super Falcons have been drawn in Group B of the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup alongside hosts Australia, debutants Ireland and Canada. Well, the Super Falcons will open their campaign on July the 21st in 2023 against Canada at Melbourne's Rectangular Stadium. The 9-time African champions will then face Australia on July the 27th at the Brisbane Stadium before facing Ireland on July the 31st at the Brisbane Stadium as well.
England, the Group B playoff winner, Denmark, and the People's Republic of China. And in Group B, USA, Vietnam, Netherlands, Group A playoff winner. Group F, France, Jamaica, Brazil, and the Group C playoff winner. Group G, Sweden, South Africa, Italy, Argentina. And Group H, Germany, Morocco, Colombia, and Korea Republic.
Still talking the 2023 Women's World Cup, England coach Sarina Wiegman says it's an exciting time to be drawn in the same group with China for the tournament in Australia and New Zealand. Well, Wiegman admits that the group, her group, which is Group D, which also has Denmark, will be really tight. Now, the winner of the Group B playoff will complete England's group.
And China, yeah, they have...
A top seed, Stefanos Tsitsipas cruised into the Stockholm Open final with a comfortable straight-set win over Finland's Emil Ruusuvuori. Tsitsipas broke serve 5 times en route to a dominant 6-2, 6-2 victory in 74 minutes. Now, the Greek 2018 champion is seeking to win his 3rd ATP title of the season.
Yeah.
And that's Sports News. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Back to you, Melinda.
Many thanks, Ayo. On the international scene, Russia has continued to target Ukraine's energy grid as its airstrikes hit critical infrastructure in central and western region of Ukraine. Sites to the south and west of Kiev have been struck and power cuts have been reported across the country. According to Ukrainian officials, many Russian cruise missiles have been intercepted by air defense system. They add that critical infrastructure had been hit in the Cherski region, which is southeast of the capital, Kiev, while a huge fire has been reported near the town of Simlia. In the United Kingdom, former Chancellor Rishi Sunak is leading the race to become the UK's next Prime Minister as Conservative members of Parliament declare who they are supporting, although he's yet to declare his intention. So far, Mr. Sunak has 127 supporters out of the 357 Tory MPs. Former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who also has not officially declared his intention, is seen as a frontrunner with 53. And Penny Mordaunt, the only candidate officially in the race, has 23. But she's lagging behind on public support by Tory MPs. Reports say that the pair of Sunak and Johnson were due to meet this afternoon, but the meeting was pushed back for reasons yet to be disclosed. And in Italy, Giorgia Meloni has been sworn in as the country's first female prime minister alongside her cabinet team, giving the country its most right-wing government since the World War II. The head of the Nationalist Brothers of Italy swept to victory in an election last month as part of a coalition that included Forza Italia, led by former Premier Silvio Berlusconi, and Matteo Salvini's League. Her government replaces a national unity administration led by former European Central Bank chief Mario Draghi. And the main news again. The PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar today restated his resolve to promote the unity of the country and ensure the creation of state police if elected in 2023. He spoke in Benin City, the Edo State capital, as his party's campaign train stopped over in Edo State. Also today, youths took to the streets of Lagos to drum support for APC's Tinubu-Shetima team, as well as the re-election bid of the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, today continued his tour of flooded communities in parts of the country, while in Bayelsa State, he asked the federal government to declare an emergency in the state. President Muhammadu Buhari today commissioned the Pinnacle Oil and Gas Facility at the Lekki Free Trade Zone in Lagos. He said his administration would continue to encourage investors to leverage on the ongoing reforms in the oil and gas sector. That's